Prime Minister, why is he still sitting there?
A scent of blood in the House.
When will you stand him aside?
Angus Taylor's a Rhodes Scholar, getting a rich lesson in ministerial standards. New South Wales Police announcing it was investigating an alleged forgery. The Financial Crime Squad launching Strike Force Garrod to establish whether any criminal offences have been committed. It had begun as an attempted hatchet job, Angus Taylor attacking the green credentials of Sydney Lord Mayor Clover Moore. In a letter, he asserted her council had spent $1.7 million in international flights and a massive $14.2 million flying domestically, all up $15 million more than actual costs. He claimed the figures were from the council's website.
I reject absolutely the suggestion that I or any members of my staff altered the documents in question.
Someone did. Police to work out who. The Prime Minister promising to make his own inquiries.
And I will speak directly to the New South Wales Police Force and understand the nature of what these reports are. And then, Mr Speaker, I will make the necessary assessments of that case at that time.
This minister cannot survive this day.
But he did.
Based on the information provided to me by the Commissioner, I consider there is no action required by me under clauses 7 stop 1.
Members on my left.
Angus Taylor's had a near-death experience, saved by the PM's calculation that the New South Wales Police won't find any evidence the minister or his staff were behind a forged document.
Labor charges that the Prime Minister's crime was the offensive defence of his energy minister. Under New South Wales Police investigation for forgery, Scott Morrison had phoned a friend.
Two of my best friends, particularly one, Andrew Scipione, and Mick Fuller.
Mick Fuller's the New South Wales Police Commissioner.
I don't have the Prime Minister's number. I certainly don't have a personal relationship with the Prime Minister.
He did have what he calls a brief discussion with the Prime Minister.
He didn't ask for anything that was inappropriate, and I'm comfortable with the discussion that we had.
But even in making the approach, Labor maintains improper influence was wielded. On that, Labor and a one-time Liberal legal mind agree.
Being blunt about it, it's a call that I would not have made.
Scott Morrison maintains he phoned the most obvious person qualified to help him decide what to do with his suspect minister.
I don't know who they thought I was going to call. Maybe, Mr Speaker, I was going to call the Water Police or the Dog Squad, Mr Speaker.
In standing by Angus Taylor, the Prime Minister's guaranteed the din of this criminal probe will drown out almost everything else in Parliament this week. But it's also flushed out information that might not otherwise have become public. The Police Commissioner reckons his Strike Force investigation will probably wrap up next week.
The scandal that's erupted around the Energy Minister's use of a doctored document to attack Sydney Lord Mayor Clover Moore, now a drag on the Prime Minister. The PM's rhetorical defence of Mr Taylor also struck trouble, wrongly attributing a Sydney broadcaster's controversial claim about former Labor Prime Minister Julia Gillard to a Victorian police detective. He later corrected the record, but Labor demands an apology.
It's no wonder that people are asking the Prime Minister, where the bloody hell are you?
As for the man whose career might hang on the outcome of a police investigation...
This is a pathetic, outrageous accusation by those opposite. Those opposite are all smear and no idea.
It's been an ugly parliamentary week for Scott Morrison, his worst since the election. In protecting a minister under investigation, even calling the police commissioner in charge, he's put his own judgment in the noose. And if he thought the week was going to end on a positive note...
There being 34 ayes and 34 noes, there's not support for the bill.
His judgment went awry on that too. The Prime Minister's prized laws to crack down on rogue union leaders crashed in the Senate, to the horror of ministers who watched One Nation, Jackie Lambie and Labor huddled in alliance against them. The swings and roundabouts of politics has its grinners.
Nurses aren't thugs. When we take action, it's to protect people and it's to protect patients.
Anthony Albanese commending unionists for their victory.
One of the things about the trade union movement is that they look like this.
The government still shell-shocked its union-busting bill was torpedoed in the Senate.
We were absolutely blindsided and taken by surprise.
Special fury reserved for Pauline Hanson, who sat with Labour, the Greens and Jackie Lambie to defeat the bill despite having almost all of her amendments accepted.
I've actually not seen anything like it. It is exceedingly strange.
At no stage did I tell them they had my guaranteed vote on it. My word's my bond.
Not true, according to ministers who've told the ABC they have the text messages to prove it.
It's dirty politics, it's gutter politics. Well, I won't play their game. And if they think they can take me for granted, well, think twice about it.
I've got massive differences with Pauline Hanson, let's be very clear. But on this, I congratulate her.
The government says it'll have another crack at the union bill in the new year, but it's bruised by what it sees as double dealing by One Nation. However, the coalition can't moan too loudly because it needs the crossbenchers if it's to repeal the Medivac legislation next week.
Thank you, Mr.
The fate of that bill will come down to Jackie Lambie's vote. Her support's conditional on an undisclosed national security measure.
If my condition is not accepted, then your Medivac is not going to get through. It's as simple as that.
A second humiliation awaits government unless Jackie Lambie brings salvation.